All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. Today is Saturday, October 26th of 2024, and looking ahead here, we have a ton of DFS action over the weekend. We have Game 2 of the World Series. Dodgers pulled out an awesome victory yesterday. We have a 7-game NBA main slate. We had our 12-game college football main slate get started about 30 minutes ago. We have NHL. We have a 2-game early and 11-game main later this evening. There is MMA today. Actually got started earlier today, so good luck to all of you in your MMA contests. We have trucks this morning. We have Xfinity in a couple of hours, and then we have NFL tomorrow. So ton of DFS action. If you guys are new here and want to check us out, we do have a 5-day no strings attached free trial. You can find it in the description of this video. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew, one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. This is a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. Get your questions in one of 3 ways here. First off, send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second, post it live in the YouTube chat. Third way, post it in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord and want to get access to that channel, there is a link in the description of this video. You also get access to our similar channels, individual sport channels, and to get access to the rest of the SaberSim teams. Can't say enough good things about the Discord. But with that said, we do this show Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we do this show here on Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. You can tune in any one of those days and get your questions answered. All right, let's get SaberSim up. I checked before the show, but I don't think we had any questions. So we're going to do a build demo here and just kind of see where we go from there. So let me just take one more quick peek here. Actually, there were a couple questions, so my bad. So let me get some of these in the queue. Looks like we had a number. I just missed them. All right. Four questions to get started today. All right, first question. In a lot of your videos, you guys advocate for building a pool of good lineups and adjusting your min uniques until there's a dramatic fall off, but you guys are generally looking at the average projection and average ROI for your total portfolio, not the individual contests. In a way, doesn't that method underestimate just how diverse we can actually get on a contest by contest basis? Yeah, so good question. You know, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and we could talk about it again today. So what you could do if you want to, or if you have the time, is you could go through every single contest and set a contest-specific min unique. Now, it's going to depend, truthfully, how many contests you're actually playing, whether or not this is a good idea or not. So, for instance, let's do like a small example. No, let's do a big example. So I'll do an example for like tonight's NBA slate. NBA, FanDuel, main. Let me bring in an entry file. All right, so this is what I'm playing tonight, like for the FanDuel main slate, right? So what I could do is I could go and I could run and build. And one other thing while this runs, you know, you mentioned the average projection and average ROI aggregate metrics. I know our defaults are a little bit different, but those are ones that I specifically like. I advocate for those. And it really comes down to, you know, I do the build review show like 5 days a week, and I just notice that those things matter, right? So like you can see like the defaults are the max destination, median destination, minimum destination. I like to add in the average projection. I think it ends up being really important. So where were we? Okay, yeah. So So let's say that, I'm doing this, I can run a contest sim real quick. I hope this works. Yeah, it's only 12 contests. Okay, cool. I don't have that many contests today. So let's run this. Let's set up the metrics that I want to use. Right, fill. Oh, it's because they're already here. Duh. All right, so let's get rid of these. Average projection, average contest sim, target ROI. Save that. So what I could do is I could go through every contest one at a time, letting the metrics update for the contest I'm doing, coming in, adjusting the uniques, and have a specific unique value on a contest by contest basis, right? And maybe it's like 3 for my 150s. And then, I go to like my next contest, and then, maybe it's maybe 3 doesn't work and it's like a different number, right? Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5. You can do this, right? This is probably optimal. This is probably the best thing that you could do. The problem is that it's not always practical, right? Especially for NBA, news is coming out late, starting lineups are changing. You have to be fast, and to go through a list of, 12 contests even 12 contests can be a lot, right? So what I do, or what makes more sense to me, like practically, is to come in here and like cut some corners by basically grouping contests together. It's like, okay, 150 is like far enough away from 20 where, I think I can use 3 for 150, and I could probably go 1 higher for my 20 maxes. And like, you could test this and like see it, and then just kind of use that as like a heuristic, right? So like at 150, we start at 1 unique. We're at 301.6 average projection, 36% ROI. At 3 uniques, we go from 301.6 to 300.6, and ROI goes down to 31. So let's say, we're fine with like a 1-point adjustment there, right? Well, now let's go to a 20 max instead, right? We'll just take like a 20. Okay, we're at 302.464. When we get to 3, we're at 302.563. So we're still like really the same, even though the uniques are the same. So then we go one further, right? Okay, 302.463. We might even be able to get to 5. I think 5 is fine, right? I would have probably just skipped and went from like, okay, 150 is like 3, then we'll just do 4. But you can get a sense that action is okay by spot checking it every once in a while, and then kind of just running with that when you're like in crunch time. So yeah, I mean, going through here contest by contest is the best, just not always practical. You got to figure out what works for you. It also is going to depend on how many contests you're playing, how much time you have, how much news you have to account for, things like that. So it is a good point. But there's sometimes you're just like put in between like a rock and a hard place with like NBA specifically. I think for NFL, you could probably do something like that. But your contest selection will kind of determine a lot of that. All right. Next question. So the discussion about min-max exposures and single entries was a bit confusing. I usually build my lineups together for all contests on a slate. Are you suggesting a separate build for single entry, or is there a way within one build to only have the min-max exposures for the multi-entry contests? Okay, good question. So there is not a way within a build to have min-max exposures only apply to multi-entry contests. We didn't talk about 2 builds, but the more I think about it, the more I think that's probably the right answer. What we did talk about was, say I do it like this, right? Is, come in here, do all of my 20 maxes and up together with my min-max exposures, save those, and then reset the min-max exposures to default. and then go and save all the other contests, right? And then you would like select all the smaller ones. That is one way to do it. The only bad thing is that, you're effectively getting rid of your minimax exposures and you would have to reset them all together. So that's why I actually am in agreement with you that I think doing a separate build for single entries makes more sense. So that probably is the best way to handle it, in my opinion. All right. Next question. I'm looking for some advice on my play. I joined SaberSim at the end of August. I have been playing the NFL main slate, some NFL showdown, and recently started NHL and NBA main slates. I had 700 in my DK account at the beginning. I have redeposited 452 in that time. My DK balance currently sits at 79. I've been following the profit plan for contest selection and trying to follow Jordan's advice of getting more shots on goal. What can I do to correct this slide? So honestly, my opinion is probably the best thing that you can do is sign up for the build review show and let me bring your build up on screen and give you personalized feedback and advice about what I'm seeing within your play and decision making that I think you can change to improve your results. So let me just respond to you right now. I'm going to write you back in office hours and tell you to sign up for the show on Monday. We do that show Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Let's have you sign up for the build review show on Monday. And then I'll just need your DK username and the sport/site. Sport and slate you want me to review. But that is the most specific thing that we have right now. And it's honestly really cool, right? We pull up your build, we look at your contest selection, we look at your post-contest sim ROIs, we go into your build, we look at all the things that you've changed, filters, rules, salaries, lineup filters, sorting methods, minimax exposures, everything you've done. And then it's like, okay, this is what they've done. What can they add? What can they take away? What might be hurting them? What might be helping them? And give you as personalized of advice as possible. So that's honestly going to be the best thing that we can do. So I just wrote you back, and we'll get you signed up for Monday, and we'll go from there. All right, next question. I've been looking into flashbacks, comparing the highest sim ROI with actual ROI. Most of the highest actual ROI lineups are grading out with negative sim ROI. Should we avoid cutting negative ROI lineups from our builds? I made it a point to cut all lineups below 0 ROI, but these outliers are the ones that are taking down slates. So I don't mind talking about this. The answer to me is no. You shouldn't intentionally play negative ROI lineups. And the way that I think about this most often is that, we'll use like a poker example, right? 7-2 is the worst hand in no limit Texas Hold'em that you can have. If you play that hand, run it through a simulation and you play it 100,000 times, you are on average going to lose more money with that hand than any other hand that you could play. Like your win probability is just so low. Now, that doesn't mean that hand never wins, but it just loses on average over time. So, if you get that hand once, you could get a pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, 1 card straight, a flush if it's suited, a 1 card flush. It's not impossible for that hand to win. It does win. It just loses more over time, right? DFS is the same way. Like, we look at this slate, right? We have our contest simulations. We're doing them 100,000 times. We're simulating the game like thousands of times to get the projections. All of that is great, right? But at the end of the day, these games play out one time, and we don't know what's going to happen, right? We see weird things happen all the time. You take a low injury rate sport like NBA, and you take a player like Emmanuel Quickly, who is in a smash spot with RJ Barrett's out, Bruce Brown is out, Kelly Olynyk's out, and he has like a huge first quarter and he gets hurt. And now he's done, right? And we had people like, hey, like, how do I avoid this? It's like, you don't, things like this happen. Like, sports are incredibly high variance, especially when the game plays out one time. Like, he was a great play, right? And he had a huge first quarter, and then bad things happen, right? Should you be judging your decisions based off of like that one random occurrence, right? Is kind of the question that you need to ask. And from a data perspective, the answer is no, right? You should be judging it over a bigger sample size. So that's why we run the contest sim 100,000 times, because we're like, okay, regardless of what happens one time, is this lineup actually good if you played it over and over and over again, right? And that information is, in my opinion, important, right? If you're in this for the long term, if you're trying to build your bankroll, if you're trying to get better and be a good DFS player, like over a long period of time, you do want to trust that information, right? I mean, I could walk up to the roulette table and I could put, $100 on any one number, and like the odds are like 1 in 36, right? And I might hit, I might not, but if I played roulette 24/7 every single day, I'd lose to the rake eventually, right? Because the house is paying like 35-1, and the actual odds are like 37-1 when you add in like the zeros, right? So I don't know. It's better to look at these things from like a law of large numbers perspective, as opposed to what happens, on one slate on one given day. That's why I play every showdown for NFL, because I want to get a bigger sample size. I want to see how I am doing over as many showdowns as I can possibly play, because what happens in one showdown is high variance. And if I'm entering good lineups and I want to play more of those, that way I can realize my equity sooner. So all in all, I would say it is better to avoid negative sim ROI lineups and stick with the positive sim ROI ones. All right. Good stuff so far. Let me jump back to the Office Hours channel. And we are all caught up with questions here. So hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Good luck in your contests all weekend long. I will be back on Monday for an Office Hours. So until then, everybody, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.